Did Islam predict modern science? Today, let's explore a fascinating question. In our research, we're using AI to answer this from an evidence-based, logical perspective, removing any emotional biases. Our goal is to examine the topic objectively to see if there's any basis to the claim that the Quran anticipated modern scientific principles. If you find this analysis insightful, please subscribe for more explorations like this. And don't forget to like and share to spread the conversation. We'll use both deductive and inductive reasoning to examine Quranic verses, interpreting them logically and comparing them to scientific facts. Let's break down each concept and look for potential connections to scientific discoveries. The Quran's emphasis on knowledge and the natural world. First, it's essential to understand that Islam places a strong emphasis on knowledge and observation of the natural world. In Surah Al-Alaq 96:1-5, the Quran says, "Read in the name of your Lord who created." This command to read and seek knowledge has inspired generations of Muslims to value science and learning. Further, the Quran encourages believers to reflect on natural phenomena, mentioning stars, the heavens, and various elements in nature. Deductively, if Islam values knowledge and exploration of the natural world, it would make sense that some scientific truths could align with the text. This forms a basis for exploring whether Islam anticipated certain scientific ideas. Let's look at specific verses to see if they offer any insights. The expanding universe. Surah Ad-Dariyat 51:47. One often cited verse is from Surah Ad-Dariyat, which says, "And the heavens we constructed with strength, and indeed we are its expander." Some interpret this as a reference to an expanding universe, a discovery attributed to 20th century astronomer Edwin Hubble, who observed galaxies moving away from each other, indicating cosmic expansion. Through deductive reasoning, we could interpret expander as a reference to the dynamic nature of the universe. However, it's possible that this phrasing is also symbolic, suggesting the vastness of the cosmos rather than literal expansion. Inductively, though, it's fascinating that the Quran mentions the heavens expanding, especially since no other ancient text includes this idea. This suggests a potential alignment with modern cosmology that's worth considering. Stages of human embryonic development. Surah Al-Mu'minun 20:12-14. Another example is found in Surah Al-Mu'minun, which describes embryonic development. "Then we made the sperm drop into a clinging clot, and we made the clot into a lump, and we made from the lump bones, and we covered the bones with flesh." This verse describes stages that closely resemble modern understandings of embryology, specifically the attachment of the embryo and subsequent development. Deductively, we could argue that the level of specificity here points to an understanding of human development not accessible in the 7th century. It's worth noting, however, that some Greek medical texts had discussed early ideas about embryology, which might have influenced early Islamic scholars. Inductively, though, the Quranic description of embryonic development is structured and detailed. It doesn't simply mention general ideas, it describes distinct stages in a logical sequence that aligns with what we now understand about human biology. Mountains as stabilizers. Surah An-Naba 78:6-7. The Quran describes mountains as stabilizers of the earth. In Surah An-Naba, it says, "Have we not made the earth as a bed, and the mountains as pegs?" Many interpret this as an early understanding of the stabilizing role of mountains. Modern geology has found that mountains, formed by tectonic plates, help stabilize the Earth's crust by distributing mass and energy. Deductively, calling mountains pegs might imply a stabilizing function, but we must consider whether this is metaphorical language describing their grandeur or size, rather than a literal pegging function. Inductively, however, it's intriguing that the Quran uses language resembling the stabilizing effects of mountains. This metaphor aligns well with modern geology's findings, suggesting a scientific resonance with the Quran's descriptions. The water cycle, Surah Az-Zumar. The Quran references the water cycle in Surah Az-Zumar. "Have you not seen that Allah sends down rain from the sky and makes it flow as springs and rivers in the earth? Then he produces thereby crops of varying colors." This mirrors the modern understanding of the water cycle: evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and collection. Deductively, the Quran's description of water flowing and producing crops shows a logical understanding of water's movement. While ancient civilizations also had some knowledge of this cycle, the Quran's detailed description stands out for its accuracy. Inductively, the Quran's reference to water's journey through natural systems is organized and systematic, showing a coherent understanding of how water sustains life, an alignment with the scientific view of the water cycle. Iron and its origins, Surah Al-Hadid 50:25. In Surah Al-Hadid, the Quran mentions, "And we sent down iron, wherein is great military might." Some interpret "sent down" as referring to iron's extraterrestrial origins, since modern science has found that iron on Earth came from supernova explosions. Deductively, interpreting "sent down" as referring to cosmic origins could be speculative. However, it's interesting that this phrasing aligns with our understanding of iron's formation in stars and its arrival on Earth. Inductively, the idea of iron being sent down could signify an understanding of its special nature and importance. This alignment with science's discovery of iron's origins is unique and aligns well with our current knowledge of stellar nucleosynthesis. Protective atmosphere, Surah Al-Anbiya 21:32. The Quran also mentions a protected ceiling in Surah Al-Anbiya, stating, "And we made the sky a protected ceiling, but they, from its signs, are turning away." Some interpret this as a reference to the Earth's atmosphere, which protects us from harmful cosmic radiation and asteroids. Deductively, describing the sky as a protected ceiling could suggest an awareness of its shielding role. It's possible that this phrase was symbolic, referencing the sky as a general boundary. Inductively, however, the Quran's mention of the sky's protective qualities aligns closely with the actual function of the atmosphere. The concept of a protective ceiling aligns well with what we know scientifically, marking an impressive overlap between religion and science. Did Islam predict modern science? To conclude, the Quran contains several references that seem to align with modern scientific principles, from the expanding universe to embryology and the protective atmosphere. Deductively, though, it's challenging to definitively prove that these verses represent advanced scientific knowledge, as much depends on interpretation. Language in religious texts can often be symbolic or open to multiple readings. Inductively, however, the Quran's references to natural phenomena are intriguing. These verses resonate with scientific truths in a way that suggests a sophisticated understanding of the world. This connection doesn't conclusively prove that Islam predicted modern science, but it does show a notable harmony between the Quran's descriptions and the scientific understanding of the world. If this analysis sparked your interest, remember to like, share, and subscribe for more explorations into the intersections of faith, science, and logic. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and we look forward to uncovering more questions with you in our next video.